So how you doing? My name is MJ, and Denmark, one of those places that it's very well known for being pretty good, actually. All that I know about Denmark is that it's great, that there's nothing bad with it. If I heard Denmark in, I don't know, internet article, it's like some, oh, Denmark, best place to live on earth. Oh, Denmark just approved this thing that makes it oh so awesome to live in. But apparently there's a hidden side to all this. Denmark is not that as innocent and oh so great as we all think it is. Kinda, I don't know. And that's why we're here today. Because I found something that will tell us the truth about Denmark. So, Hygge. Hygge? I don't know how to pronounce that. Is that English? Is that Spanish? Is that Danish? The point of this game is apparently the story of a something, woman or a guy, I don't know, that had some problems in Denmark. Denmark is not so as we all think it is. I have nothing against Denmark. Denmark is cool. A nice amount of views on my channel come from Denmark. So I'm just saying, I'm here for the truth. I'm such a dumbass. Okay, Hygge. Oh, we have a description. A quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality that engenders a feeling of contentment or well-being, regarded as a defining characteristic of Danish culture. Oxford Dictionary. So it's just feeling comfortable in your environment? That's nice. That sounds really nice. Get the goddamn it, Denmark. No wonder why you're so good. Fuck. Hygge is a Danish and Norwegian word with a unique definition, although very similar to the Dutch word Hygge as a noun includes a feeling, a social atmosphere, and an action. The word is also used in compositions as Julehygge, Christmas Hygge. Hygge is also a verb, let's hygge, and that's an adjective. A small Hygge-like house with grass on the roof. The noun Hygge includes something nice, cozy, safe, and known, referring to a psychological state. Hygge is a state where all psychological needs are in balance. The antonym of the Hygge is uhyggelig, which translates as scary. Wikipedia. Is this just gonna be a game of definitions about the word? Okay, Hygge is a Danish as pork roast, and it goes far in illuminating the Danish soul. In essence, Hygge means creating a warm atmosphere, enjoying the good things in life with good people. There's nothing more Hygge than sitting around the table, discussing the big and small things in life. Perhaps Hygge explains why the Danes are the happiest people in the world. See, told you. But that summer, everything changed. That summer, everything changed. Moving, kids, powerlifting. So it's like a choose your own adventure. Powerlifting, like exercising, moving, yes, powerlifting. You got into powerlifting when you were 22. Powerlifting is a sport where you try to lift as much weight as you possibly can for a single repetition. What the fuck? The bench press, the squat, and deadlift together. These three lifts cover most major muscle groups and are an effective approximation of bodybuilding strength. That's crazy. That's what? You got into powerlifting because bodybuilding got boring. Bodybuilding is a competition where your psyche is judged according to the subjective ways of the judges. So there's a lot of potential for abuse or their weakness. Some bodybuilders are clearly bigger and better than others. But then it comes down to the elite of the elite. It's shocking to imagine that any of those listers, all which are absolute beasts, should have to fight over who gets to be considered the best. In powerlifting, you add together the weight you can lift in all three lifts to get your total. Then your total is compared up against others in your weight class. Highest total wins. Simple, mathematical, less conducive to drama. Of course, drama still exists because drama is freaking everywhere. Damn, you saw amazing results in the first year or two of training when you could train constantly and weren't moving much. Then you end up moving around a lot and you struggle to have a consistent training schedule. So results, a year ago you had a cycle labor job that involved carrying heavy equipment up and down people's stairs. As a result, you tweaked something in your left leg and you haven't been able to squat as heavy since. Anytime you start getting seriously heavy on weight, your leg starts acting again. It's been getting better, but it takes time. Moving. how do you feel about moving to Denmark? See, this is where the shit begins. This is where we found out the truth about Denmark. Let me check my microphone. Still recording? Yes, it's still recording. Denmark? Yeah, like, I just found this job. It's a long shot. I don't actually know where Denmark is. Come on, it's right, like, so it's fucking stuck together with Sweden. It's in Europe. Laughing whale J. I just couldn't point out the map, you know? It's a really good job. Well, let me see how the election goes, right? Okay. Kids? Do I have kids? Okay, I'm a man. I thought I was a woman there for a second. Your girlfriend has 2 kids from previous marriage, 7 and 13. God damn it. They are polar opposites. The 13-year-old is very introverted and nerdy and just wants to spend time alone. The 7-year-old is outgoing and precious and always wants to be the center of attention. The two constantly get into fights because neither can understand the other's mindset in the slightest. You weren't really prepared to be a step-parent, but you have taken it well enough. They both like you a lot because you're a very neutral presence, and you often have to meditate between the kids. Meditate between the kids, that's not. You're more intellectually minded like the 13-year-old, but also willing to give the 7-year-old cuddles or pick her up over your head. In pictures, the 7-year-old is always smiling warmly, facing directly at the camera. The 13-year-old is always smiling with a grin that seems a little too wide and too fake, and her eyes are always aimed just slightly up the camera. 7 and 13. So they are stepsisters? Because it says from previous marriages, plural. Jesus Christ, who am I married to? Abroad? You lived abroad twice before. You were 21, you live in Strasbourg, Holland, as part of a study abroad program offered by your college. You were with a class of about 10 other students from your school and plenty of students from a Canadian exchange program, amongst others, so you didn't have any trouble finding people to hang out with. Still, you struggle with the language. Oh, well, French is kind of fucked up. I remember in my my high school, they used to have like French classes, but they were mandatory for some people, not for me. But I remember some of my friends, they were just panicking because they didn't understand a thing about French. But it's cool. French is cool. Probably I'd like to learn French in the future. When you were 24, you were offered a lot of money to be a strength coach in Saudi Arabia. Against your better judgment, you took it. It was a good experience, and they couldn't pay you nearly as much as they promised. You enjoyed parts of it, but you left after 3 months. In the summer, they fly you out to Copenhagen to see if you like it. Your first impression isn't very good. You keep trying to compare it to Paris in your mind. Everything is the exact same height, and there's no nearly as much art to the place. But it's still European. Where I'm from, originally. Summertime, okay, 13-year-old fanfic. The 13-year-old daughter is on spectrum. She's a nerd through and through, 120% fangirl. She spends all her time talking to herself in her room, inventing elaborate crossover fantasy mashup of Harry Potter with Hamilton, with Pokemon, with Final Fantasy, with My Little Pony, with whatever other franchise she's interested right now. What's Hamilton? I don't know Hamilton. She writes long fanfics, scribbling on a piece of paper. She doesn't follow lines of reading all the chunks, repeating la 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 la. Okay. This week, Harry Potter gets amnesia and forgets who he is. Everyone sees he's Harry Potter, but he claims there's no evidence of this fact. He says, I will instead to become the world's greatest Pokemon trainer. J.K. Rowling, you have the 8, 9, 10 book right there. Now that he's the world's best Pokemon trainer, he's famous, and more people insist that he's actually Harry Potter. He still says there's no evidence of this, the story ends there. She's weird, but she's basically not much weirder than any 13-year-old girl. She's going through the same changes. She just gets excited about things in different ways than everyone else. Okay, you arrive at the airport in October. Fall. Damn. Okay. Airport. Okay, it's cold out, but not as cold as just expected. Why is the background brown like shit? It's something, it's a little message about the things to happen. It's dark, even though it's only 4:30. You're waiting, but none of the cabs are big enough to fit all of your luggage. The kids are stretched to the breaking point, anxious, excited, frustrated, tired, hungry. One of them says something annoying and you snap out of them by accident. You tell them you don't need this right now. She starts sobbing a little and you apologize. You hug her tight, you tell her that moving is hard and it's going to be hard for a while. She nods her head. Her tears slowly come to a halt. But when the cab driver arrives, he's a big man, heavy but more importantly tall. When he sees them on the luggage, he lectures you about it. Yeah, listen, you tell him, we're moving here. Don't do this again. He scolded us as if we were children. We weren't planning on it, you tell him. Part of you wants to obviously, but you hold yourself back. Still recording, yes, still recording my microphone. Jet lag. I never experienced jet lag because I never cross oceans. At most, it's like an hour or two, but not much. You experienced jet lag before, of course. You just never made transatlantic flights this frequently before. Usually, it doesn't mess up you too much on the way to America, but it really messes you up on the way back to Europe. Flying back once, you get a sinus infection while in California for a conference, flying back in absolute misery. When you doze off in the plane, you always wake up pretty shortly afterwards with a massive headache. This awfulness lasts for a week. The first time you work out afterwards, you become so faint that you have to stumble home. Every time you get jet lag, you find yourself waking up uncharacteristically early in the morning for a week or two before sinking back into your old habits. Whew, man, I'm boring as fuck. Coffee, I don't care about coffee. Well, I do care about coffee, but not for the purpose of this story. It's a dream job for her. She's in a company that's big enough to have money and small enough to give her real say in decision making. They trust in her talents and give her work suited to her abilities. There's the usual ups and downs, but she loves it so much and more than any job she's had before. They respect her. After just 3 months, they promote her to the head of the department. It means a lot to her. She's so excited. There's no pay raise, but she negotiates for extra vacation. They actually like it when she speaks at conference. They keep paying to fly her out to new ones. Sometimes you go too. You're so proud of her and you love her so much. She's such an amazing person. Okay, my wife's doing great. That's really good. My job? Do I have a job? Damn. God damn. You have had those jobs as a trainer in various capacities. But you haven't been shifting your focus to online coaching more recently. You started off with just a couple clients a couple of years ago, but now you have more like 15. Enough to pay the bills, but not enough to live comfortably. You had a day job where you were paying minimum wage for 40 hours a week because you basically had to sit behind the desk and do little else. Perfect for working on your online business. This was a chunk of your income, but you were fine giving up to make the move. Now you can focus on your business full time. Business grows, but not as quickly as you like. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it feels like you're just spinning your wheels. Some months you get a lot of prepays, other months are much leaner. Since you work on your bullet, you don't get out too much more. You don't really make new friends or see people. Just your girlfriend and the kids. Man, my life sounds terrible. But what about Denmark? I want to go out to the okay. Let's go to something more interesting, like elections. Due to the time zone difference, election results are going to be relevant in the middle of the night. It takes a long time to fall asleep. You keep referring to results on your phone, checking to see who's in the lead. You're enthusiastic. Eventually, you'll fall asleep. Your girlfriend wakes up in the middle of the night, checks her phone next to her. He just steer you. You steer to. He won, she whispers softly. You can fall back asleep. You get up and play Destiny multiplayer matches into the early morning because you're upset. You drink the leftover beers in the fridge. Is this like that election last year that it was pretty fucked up? Damn. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. The sex. Ooh. Sex has become difficult. They put you in a small 3-bedroom apartment temporarily while you wait for your residence permits to clear so that you can rent a bigger one. This one is prepaid for 3 months. The kids need their own bedrooms so they don't tear each other's hair out. One of the rooms is far too small for 2 people and the other 2 are directly adjacent. There's a door connecting them and it doesn't quite shut all the way. Everyone's bedroom is within a 5-foot radius of everyone else. You wait until late in the night when the kids already sleep. Even then, you have to be so careful, so quiet, so nervous. You don't really feel in the mood as often. This upsets her. She needs to be loved and cared for. You are not providing. It's going to get better when we move. I know, but that's not for months. Ouch. Okay, coffee. What the fuck are you going to you have gone into instant coffee. You're not big on taste and you're not full of your coffee now. You don't taste real coffee until you go back to the stage and your mouth makes you sound boring. Come on, give me something more interesting. When am I supposed to punch something? The 7-year-old is the most outgoing person you ever met. It's absolutely bizarre that she came out of a family of introverts. It's pretty normal. Like having them no, I don't know, someone in the family that it's the exactly opposite of the entire family. I know that well. She constantly feels the need to be touched or held. If you're in the same room as her, she'll snuggle up next to you and start climbing on your back without asking, like a fucking monkey. She bugs you throughout the day to pay attention to her, no matter how busy you are. When she starts up school, it's a blessing because it keeps her out of your hair for the time being. Do you remember the time that she told you that the time it took to fall asleep in her bed was too much time to be alone, so she refused to try sleeping on her own? Every time you explain to her that most people want more alone time than her, she replies with shocked confusion. I never wanted more time to be alone, she tells you indignantly. Yes, but I'm trying to explain why other people want to be left alone, you tell her. She sniffs and turns away. She's not listening anymore. She misses her old friends in Seattle a lot. Sometimes she asks if it's possible to see her old friends or contact them. She don't have any way of contacting most of them. She's too young for social media. Sometimes you can hear her crying in her room when she tries to keep it quiet so that you can't hear her. She's embarrassed to feel lonely. When she snuggles up with you on the couch, you hug her tight. Okay. Modeling? What the fuck? What is up with daylight? Daylight in the winter is minimal. The sun is up from maybe 8 or 9 to just 3 or 4. Damn, that's way too... that's not enough. At first you aren't upset about it. You make jokes about it. You change your Twitter profile to read all man yells about daylight. As you repeat the jokes, they stop being strictly jokes. At some point, they complain it starts being real. You wake up at 10 or 11, so you miss some of your precious daily hours. You get your work done in the middle of the day when your girlfriend is at work. Because of this, you never have a chance to go outside. Luckily, you put your computer monitor on your Windows wheel so you can look up the daylight while you're working. Hey, it's not the present strictly, it just removes your sense of time. They explore into each other. Okay, my 7-year-old is modeling. Why? I mean, she's too young for social media, but not too young for modeling? The fuck? Is everything still recording? Hell fucking yes. The 7-year-old wants more than anything to be a model or a fashion designer. She could probably pull it off too. The photographer at the audition is shocked by her energy and confidence. The photographer is light by her presence. She is listed on the website as a model. The 7-year-old loves being taken to H&M. She needs fashionable and cheap, and she can dress herself up. Sometimes she will lay out outfits she's planned days in advance. The fuck does that? Sometimes the outfits are goofy as hell, but she loves just the act of putting them together. She's also a bizarre nudist, walking around without clothes in inappropriate situations all the time, or sleeping in her underwear and then not bothering to get dressed right away. She never gets an offer for any kind of child modeling gig, but she loves just being able to tell her friend that she's a model. The fucking 13-year-old schooled. Oh no, that's gonna be a drama. She's also gonna write yes to girls. God damn, girls are complicated, especially when they're young. God damn. Because she's on the spectrum, the school district is having a hard time finding a place for her 13-year-old. This is made worse by the fact that when you move in January, you will probably have to go through the whole process again. Your girlfriend wants to handle it all, doesn't want you to worry, but she gets frustrated dealing with bureaucracy like this. They don't know where to put her, and they keep offering options that won't work out. We are talking around in circles. I think I'm never going to go to school ever again, the 13-year-old tells you sadly. What would you think that? Because, well, it's Denmark. Maybe they have something against Americans. Your sister's in school. Yeah, but, well, they just don't want me. You're going to go to school, trust me. She doesn't say anything in response. As time passes and she still hasn't been sorted into school yet, she gets progressively more upset. Goddamn, sleep. Your girlfriend has a 9 to 5, but you don't. She goes to sleep at midnight every night like clockwork. You start staying up later, till 2 or 3 in the morning each night. It feels good to be out when no one else is. The girls are asleep, so you can get some time all to yourself. Usually, you watch television or play Destiny or Final Fantasy 15 when it comes out. Sometimes you get some work done or do something. Okay. Okay, every night you snuggle your girlfriend in bed at midnight before you get up to do other stuff. You love her so much, but it's nice to have time away from even her, the kids, and work all at once. You have always been an introvert that way. She understands, and you love that about her. You sometimes get so warm comfortable while spooning that you just decide to stay instead. Falling asleep just like that. Okay, so far nothing really that much interesting. I mean, it sounds like a normal life. Some problems then and there, but come on, give me the good stuff. Damn, that's gonna sound fucked up. One day you find out about a funny political event late at night, but you don't want to wake up your girlfriend up to tell her. The next morning she wakes up early to go into work and she finds out about it but doesn't want to wake you up to tell you. In the middle of the day, the two of you exchange what you wanted to tell each other, laughing when you realize it was the same thing. Okay, depression. Ooh. In high school, you almost attempted suicide. You flip a coin to decide whether to do it or not. And then when you got the decide to say no, you went to your mom and asked to start seeing a therapist. Ooh. You were dealing with a lot of time. You feel rejected by the girl you liked. You felt suffocated intellectually. You were too introverted to have much practice interacting with people, but you were too extrovert to be okay with not interacting with people. You were awkward. You always felt like you say, I did the wrong things. You never had a lot of friends, and when you did, you didn't ever feel like you were the one that people like or respect the most. My man. You've been dealing with anxiety your whole life. At the time that you started seeing the therapist, you hadn't really understood it or seen it in those terms. There were certain things, nonsensical ones, really, that really rattled you. Hated arguments, talking to people on the phone, talking to anyone who sat behind any kind of desk, worrying about dying and about the future. You have learned how to manage those anxiety scenes, but only because you took that step of going to a therapist and asking for help. Damn, son. You slept through most of your classes. You had a very careful schedule of what classes you could sleep during and which one the teacher will catch you during. If you were ever bothered at all during the day, grogginess immediately set upon you and you often fell asleep. You could never stay awake during car rides without something to do. You bore a narcolepsy. The reason you got into fitness was because of your depression. The therapist recommended it. You had been a runner before that. He dabbled in track and cross country, but had hated it. When the therapist recommended you exercise to help manage your anxiety, you tried lifting weights for the first time and were hooked. Because of this, you end up getting a personal training certification and becoming a trainer. God damn it. Shut up. You never experienced seasonal affective disorder where people find that their moods are worse in the winter. But this year, you really do experience it. After all, the days are about 8 hours long, and when you sleep in, you miss some of those. Damn. It's not depression. You have your ups and downs. You manage yourself with all the coping skills you have developed in 10 years since that near suicide attempt. But you're in a bit of funk. Some days you end up playing video games all day when you meant to do work. Others you feel suffocated by how small the apartment is. You know that you got over it. Oh, okay. January you move into your new apartment. Winter. In January you move into your new apartment. Damn, this game is freaking long as fuck, boy. I wanted to keep this. I wanted to keep videos a bit smaller because, you know, I mean, it's interesting. It's like very mundane, but I know the setup is kind of interesting. I want to keep reading, but damn. Okay, I will leave it there. Yes, I will have to leave it there. Sorry. So I guess I will see you next time. Bye.